All right, and we are live. Hello, everyone. This is My Two Cents, and welcome to the March Patrons Hangout, or the Quarantine Hangout, as I've titled it. In the pre-show conversation here, we've been talking, and basically all of us, wherever we are, Night Shift and I are in the U.S., Pipsqueaks in Australia. Things are either closing down or acting like they're closed down with all the craziness from this COVID-19. Which I will be talking about in the next 2 Day with 2 Cents podcast, which will hopefully come out tomorrow. But as we are all trapped inside our homes and businesses and whatever else may be going on, or as in my case, you might be working a lot more depending on what it is you do. But why not just get together and hang out, especially through the internet where we can't transmit communicable diseases? So I see Tinseltown Queen has already joined us. Hello.
Awesome.
And for just to let everyone know, if you didn't see it already, Night Shift 10,000 just mirrored his monthly video on my channel, which had Tinseltown Queen had a brief appearance in near the end. So be sure to check that out. Otherwise, I'll put it out there to anyone watching or Pipsqueak and Night Shift, whatever you guys want to talk about. The floor is open. Now, obviously, we can talk about serious stuff. We can talk about lighthearted stuff. Honestly, I'm kind of inclined to talk about more lighthearted stuff just because I've heard enough about coronavirus for a while. But Albedo says, are you ready for hyperinflation? I should hope so. Been preparing for it for a while. I've got plenty of precious metals, somewhat diversified in cryptocurrencies, and saved up in canned food. So at this point, and of course, firearms and ammunition. So at this point, I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Good. Excellent. And I do hate to shift this back to the coronavirus, but I am going to be starting on a new Wattpad project. The story is going to be called COVID-20, and it kind of takes place after like the coronavirus has settled down. You know, everyone thinks that the people that got it are recovering, but instead they start turning, they start becoming like zombies and whatnot. And it is kind of like a zombie apocalypse story, but it's based around that.
The Walking Dead coronavirus edition?
Yeah, sort of.
Okay. That reminds me, I got to put some more work in my Ancap novel, Kingdoms and Anarchy.
Oh, yes, please.
I've written about 5 paragraphs in the intro, and I haven't gotten back to it since.
Yeah.
But it's one of many projects I'm trying to work on right now, so we'll get to it when we get there.
Yeah.
I see JC Armitage has also joined us. Hello. So I guess I'll put the question out there. So anybody here like had to stay home from work, or what are you doing to fill your time?
Not really. I'm still working on videos. I'm still working on my projects. So, but no, my work roster is pretty much full.
Yeah, as is mine. I know I've talked to some folks that, you know, based on they've either been told to work from home remotely if they can, or just don't come to work at all. They'll be furloughed for the time being, or their business is going to go under, unfortunately. But
yeah.
But like every day I'm looking at Twitter and seeing all these people complaining, like, I have nothing to do. I can't go to work. I'm so bored. And I'm thinking, man, I envy you kind of. I mean, on one hand, I'm grateful that I still have a job right now. On the other hand, I'm working a lot. So,
yeah, that really sucks that they're slamming you with so much work. God.
Mm-hmm. Alex Edmetre, hello. Games and kids to fill the time. JC Armitage asks, has anyone played Doom Eternal yet? I have not.
I've heard it's a pretty good game.
Okay. Pipsqueak, Doom Eternal?
No, I haven't bought it yet.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely don't have time for gaming right now. And as you can probably see with the lack of Pokemon streams I've had on my gaming channel. But Tinseltown Queen says, just enjoying the time off. Well, good for you. Helping Night Shift make videos, I see, so good for you on that as well.
Yeah, I know. I really want her to help me out on the project. That'd be great. Or several projects. That'd be really great. But yeah. Hey, am I coming through okay?
You're a little bit distorted, but it's not that bad.
Oh crap! No.
I mean, I say a little bit. It's like I can hear and understand you.
Okay, good. Oh jeez.
All right. Well, if nobody else has anything to talk about, I will resort to my usual my thing for streams, and just start scrolling through my Twitter feed until I find something worthy of discussion.
But on a lighter note, who here is hyped that about the economic collapse still?
Hyped about it? I mean, let me put it this way.
I don't know if hype is the right word here.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be bad. The way I see it, the sooner it's going to come, just let it come. The longer they manage to push it off, the worse it's going to be when it finally comes. But I certainly don't wish upon anyone the hardships that are going to come. I mean, businesses are going to go under. People are going to watch their life savings disappear when the dollar collapses. For all those out there, if you haven't started preparing, start. It's never no time like the present, but nonetheless, I'm not excited for it in that it's going to suck.
As Scar the Lion said, be prepared.
Yes. Yes. For the death of the king, right?
No king, la 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 la.
Yeah, in a certain manner of speaking, the death of the king, the death of the US dollar.
Yay.
Yeah, JC Armitage also says, I don't think hyped is the right word for this situation. Yeah, I have to agree. Like, I hope that when the dust finally settles, the world will be in a better place and people will learn from their mistakes. I'm not holding out a lot of hope because it seems that no one ever does. But yeah, it's not going to be pretty. Albedo asks, have you heard how Hollywood is going to lose $20 billion this year? It doesn't surprise me considering movie theaters are closed down. And now, like, I don't know anybody who has Disney Plus saw, but Disney released a ton of movies on Disney Plus just because theaters are closed. And it looks like for the foreseeable future, so long as movie theaters remain closed, Hollywood's going to have to start just releasing movies through streaming services.
Hollywood's going to lose $20 billion. Me. Well, good. They deserve it.
Exactly. They've been putting out nothing but crap.
I heard Disney was actually going under.
I think their stock's in the toilet.
I don't know whether this is actually true or not, but apparently because Disney's stock tanked so low, Apple is thinking of trying to buy them out.
Oh, really?
Really?
Which would be both hilarious and utterly terrifying.
Yeah, and Nate the volunteer finally makes it.
If Apple. Oh, hey, Nate.
Yo, what's up? Sorry, I'm late.
No problem. No problem. I got through the first 20 minutes of your stream. If we don't want to talk about that,
sure.
Anyways, finishing what I was saying. Yeah. If damn Pipsqueak, it was Apple is thinking of buying out Disney because their stock is going so low. Yeah, and yes, hilarious and also terrifying. But anyways, Mad Max 3.0 Corona Edition.
Walking Dead 3.0 Corona Edition.
Dude, it might. Like, I'm sort of half, like, it would be kind of hilarious if it actually did turn into Mad Max down here in Australia. Because Saudi Arabia and Russia is having this friggin' argument over oil price. Unleaded petrol is like less than $1 a liter right now. It's down like 60 to 70 cents per liter, which is nuts. I don't actually remember last time it was under $1. It's been years. So I got like 2 jerry cans of petrol when that happens. Like, fuck it, why not, right? It's never going to be this slow again.
I just think I just think the whole whoa, what happened to him?
Not sure.
I was just going to say I was just thinking it'd be hilarious. The whole Mad Max thing would be hilarious because Mad Max actually happens in Australia. So
Pipsqueak is back.
The Road Warrior. Oh, hey, Pipsqueak. Yay. But I mean, if you've ever seen The Road Warrior, it actually pertains to that whole topic of like a bunch of wasteland raiders surround an oil rig that has a bunch of people living on it, and they want it, and they actually end up blowing it up and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. So, anyways, Nate, if you did want to talk about your stream, we can do that.
Sure. So, I actually had Brian Kaplan on my show. We actually discussed open borders as well as his views on pacifism, though we didn't have a whole lot of time to discuss everything. But I have to say, when discussing with him about open borders, I have to say, I feel like he's taking a more pragmatic approach, if you will, or or the way that, or pretty much what I got from his position was probably a more statist position.
Okay, that's interesting. Now, to fill everybody in, so Nate the Volunteerist had Brian Kaplan on his show on Friday. I watched the first 20. I've made it through the first 20 minutes so far. Brian Kaplan is a professor who's written a book arguing for open borders. And from what I gathered from his intro, he has a pretty traditional view on as far as libertarian position on open borders, in that his opinion is no individual should be barred from trying to travel somewhere and seek employment there if that's what they want to do to better their own life. Would you say that's a fair, probably oversimplified, but a fair summary of his position?
I'm not sure if it's a traditional libertarian point of view, based on what I'm hearing, because the problem is I feel like there's still government involved in this position that he's pushing forward.
Okay, and what makes you say that?
Well, the problem is, when we discussed property rights in that position, he actually disagreed with it. To my shocking surprise. Yeah, it put a cold shiver down my back.
I can imagine. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, yeah, okay, so we agree. The market should be the ones deciding who can and cannot come in, or who, we should not restrict travel. We all agree with that. Then we get to the property rights, and then for some strange reason, he disagreed with that.
What did he say? Wait, what did I think you, at least on my end, you cut out for a second. What's his view of property rights?
Oh, man, I have to watch again because he talked really fast, so I probably missed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will have to finish watching that one when I get a chance. Like I said, I got through the first 20 minutes. But that's available on Nate's channel for anyone who is interested.
Well, it's actually limited right now, just so y'all know.
Oh, okay. Well, he'll be making it available at some point, I'm guessing.
It'll be mainly available on my show's BitChute channel.
Okay. JC Armitage says, have you ever noticed how peaceful the long lines in gun stores are compared to how violent people get over toilet paper at Walmart? Makes you wonder. Yes, it certainly does.
That whole thing. Who saw the article? I can't remember who put it out. The article with the headline. They were talking about how all of these previously anti-gun people are getting spooked and now want guns, and they suddenly find out you need an FFL license in order to have guns be delivered to you from interstate. It's like, yeah, you asked for this.
Mm-hmm. And I understand people stocking up on basic necessities, but I don't know what the obsession with toilet paper is.
I think hand sanitizer more than anything.
Yeah, like what you need is hand sanitizer. This is not a gastrointestinal disease. You don't need. You don't want to run out of toilet paper, but you don't need to be high. You don't need 100 rolls of toilet paper in your basement to last out if you get sick.
Truth is, I think they're just mentioning toilet paper just to get everybody all getting up and excited. It's not really. I don't know if it's a problem or not, but still. I think it's just a way to get everybody all excited and just fighting in the stores or whatever. That's how I see it.
Oh, dude, I'm just waiting for the food riots to start.
Oh, as I said in last week's stream, when those finally start, it's going to go like 0 to 100 overnight.
Amen. It's going to get bloody.
Right now, things are going 0 to 60.
Mm-hmm. Lights473 asks, what is the Ancap perspective on the free market solving the coronavirus crisis? Glad you asked. Well, actually, in my opinion, the coronavirus crisis really is only as much of a crisis as it is because it's been made as such by the government in coordination with the media. So I'd say how do you solve such a crisis? The free market solution to this crisis is one, businesses decide for themselves whether or not the risk is high enough that they need to close or send employees home. As far as treatments, the free market has a direct incentive to develop vaccinations and or treatments. And in the absence of complicated, medical licensing boards, the FDA, things like that, there's significantly less red tape that prevents them from developing the kinds of treatments or vaccinations they would need. And then, of course, supply and demand causes resources to flow to their most valuable use. And I would say there are some examples of even in the world right now, we can see examples of how the free market is solving some of these problems, in that many restaurants that were not previously a part of Uber Eats or DoorDash have now signed up, because if people aren't allowed to come and eat in their dining facilities, they still need a way to people still need food, and they need a way to have it delivered. Grocery stores and Walmart and all those other businesses are leaning much more heavy on door-to-door grocery delivery service, especially for the elderly and people who are more afraid of contracting the disease are making more use of that. Some gyms, I saw a news article about how fitness centers are actually releasing online workouts that you can that their members can subscribe to get videos about how you can do workouts and stuff at your homes. Schools are turning to online virtual education. So really, I'd say the free market solves it the way it does anything else. When a demand exists, there's a direct incentive to find a solution, and entrepreneurs then find the solution, and they do it faster and more efficiently than any salaried government employee ever will.
JC, I was just about to mention this, but JC mentions in the chat that a bunch of biohackers are trying to create a cure for coronavirus. It's not really a cure; it's more of a vaccine. What they're doing is they're using DNA sequencing to essentially try and manufacture a synthetic coronavirus that will. Their hope is that it will cause the body to basically be like a normal vaccine, but instead of using a live virus, it uses a synthetic form that's significantly less dangerous. It's been done. This isn't like some new radical thing. It's been done in medical research before, but the only problem with it is it's a lot safer because it's not using a live virus. But the flip side of that is it might not actually work. But they're deliberately going with DNA sequencing because the risk that it might not work is better than the risk full-blown thing from the vaccine.
What I would say is a good Ancap solution is stay home. Yeah, basically what a good anarcho-capitalist or free market solution is. Stay home, get lots of NyQuil, eat hot food, get lots of cold drinks, because seriously, the coronavirus has a 98% chance of survival. Don't give into the hype, and just rest up and get well. That's what I would say is a good one.
Mm-hmm. And to be fair, the 2 to 3% death rate is significantly higher than a lot of other viruses, but still, it's not like a 20% death rate even. So.
Exactly.
And it's my understanding. So Italy has now surpassed China for the highest amount of death rates, and 99% of the people who died had some other medical condition that was aggravated by the virus. It wasn't the virus that killed them per se.
I don't believe the numbers coming out of China at all.
Well, so certainly there's that point. You can't really trust the Chinese government to be honest about their numbers, especially considering how hard they work to try to cover the thing up. But in any case, assuming go ahead.
So they already basically admitted that they were lying about the numbers before. Because like, if you look at the number of like the site everyone always brings up on streams and such, if you look at the number of cases reported in that spike, like it was a month ago or something, because the Chinese government were lying about their cases, and now it's plateaued again. It's like, nah, they're lying.
Yep.
Again.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure everybody saw the article about the doctor who, back in November or something, the doctor who initially tried to come forward and say he thought he discovered a new strain that might turn out to be dangerous, and he was jailed and forced to sign a statement of recanting, and then he ended up dying of coronavirus. So,
yeah.
And again, who knows if that story is even accurate at this point? Like, I've seen so many news reports at this point, and there are those that are very adamant about the conspiracy theories and all this. Look, I don't know. And frankly, I don't care to find out at this point. What I know is the Chinese government is still run by the Communist Party. They're a bunch of liars. Art of Illusion says the Chinese government could exaggerate also. Lying doesn't always mean hiding. Fair point. But yeah, JC Armitage says, haven't the overwhelming majority of coronavirus deaths been people who are 65 and up? That is correct. And also, if I'm not mistaken, it's not only that they're 65 and up, but that they also had some other kind of health condition that was then aggravated by the coronavirus. It wasn't necessarily the coronavirus that killed them.
Yeah.
All right, taking a look at my Twitter feed. These are the following. I'm getting increasingly frustrated with the trends for you section on Twitter because it's never anything I care about. But here is the trends for me currently listed on Twitter. Hashtag our president Bernie. Hashtag Tiger King Netflix. Hashtag Sven Gulli. Hashtag coronavirus pandemic. Let's start with that first one. Our president Bernie. Now, I'm sure, as everyone knows, Bernie has lost. Biden is the de facto nominee at this point. Bernie is a sore loser who is refusing to admit that he's lost.
That's what my next video is going to be on right there. I'm literally doing a video on the Democratic primaries and what all went wrong. However, on the whole Biden thing, my family does have a theory about that. Now, they think that Trump has the election in the bag. However, they think that Biden is going to nominate Hillary Clinton as his vice president. And if he gets in, they're going to declare him too senile to do his job. And they're going to supplant him with Hillary. They think that's what's going on. That's kind of the conspiracy theory that's happening, is that they're trying to put Hillary into power by putting Biden into office and then getting her into power. But, yeah, you got to get in, and I don't see Biden with anyone being able to get the presidency. So,
let me just say this: I don't know if it's the DNC doing it or not. If you are the Democratic nominee and you pick Hillary as your VP, you are an idiot. I guarantee any person who picks Hillary as their VP will be dead within 30 days of taking office, and Hillary will then become president.
Oh yeah.
That woman is so determined to be president, you'd have to be a fool to make her your vice president.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
Mm-hmm. Albedo says, so the state is going to use Biden for their Hoover FDR narrative. Yeah, I have to agree, and I talked about this on the 2 Day with 2 Cents podcast. I actually think there is a sense in which Biden is more dangerous than Bernie. His rhetoric obviously isn't as extreme, but his politics are. And I think the narrative they're going to try to push is the same one they did in 2008 when Obama got elected, and basically say this economic collapse is Donald Trump's fault. It's the result of 4 years of failed policies, putting me in office, and I promise I will fix the economy. Now, granted, the stimulus packages and everything they're passing right now aren't going to work, at least not even apparently as they did in 2008. The Fed doesn't have enough wiggle room anymore. But I think it would be enough for sweeping changes in government control
Yeah.
And to be fair, I mean, it's like Trump's not a saint either. He's going right along with this whole Fed stimulus thing, which shows yet again that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who gets elected. The state always gets its way. But still, that's just the particular narrative that I find that I. And JC Armitage asks, do you think that master narrative will work as well as it did in 2008? I honestly don't know. What I know is that people as a group never underestimate the idiocy of people as a group.
Mm-hmm. Oh, who here has heard about the what was it? The Marvel Comics New Mutants or something like that?
Yeah. I saw Dave Cullen made a video about it. I didn't watch it. What's the deal with that?
Okay, well, Eric July also made several videos about it. And I actually watched his live stream and his videos on that. Apparently, Marvel is making this new SJW team of superheroes. One is overweight, one is a major computer nerd, and there's like 2 non-binary siblings. And they're apparently the big new hero team with Marvel. I personally think Marvel has put the last nail in its own coffin if it publishes these, but I mean that might just be me. But yeah, it's basically an SJW hero team that Marvel is putting out, and yeah.
Yeah, I saw the drawings. Like, one's got a pink suit, one's got a blue suit. I see Tinseltown Queen posted. Safe Space and Snowflake are the names of the heroes.
That's the 2 siblings. That's the 2 siblings, I believe. There's also oh god, the overweight one. I forget her name, but goddamn. Oh yeah. And it was hilarious because like the guy who was promoting the whole thing, he was like, and she charges into action to defend others or something.
Yeah, Marvel.
I don't see her charging anywhere, frankly.
Marvel does appear to have sealed its fate. I was not. I mean, when it came to how Endgame basically put an end to the main series of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I wasn't terribly displeased. I thought it was all right. Could have been better, but all right. But everything they've made since then, just like they're working so hard to be woke, they're killing their own brand.
Oh yeah.
The only Marvel movie coming out that I'm moderately interested in is Morbius.
That might be good. I'm really hoping they do a Deadpool 3.
Still what remains my most favorite part in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe is the part where Hulk picks up Loki and just, Good
God.
Yeah, he just smashes him around.
I don't know where I laughed harder. The part where Hulk picks up Loki and smashes him, or the part where Hulk lands right beside Thor and then basically punches him.
I am a god, and I will not be bullied by... That was great. That will go down in history as one of the greatest film scenes ever.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then Thor Ragnarok, where Thor and Hulk were fighting each other, and finally Hulk becomes Bruce Banner again, and Bruce is like, "Wait, we had a fight? Did I win?" And Thor's like, "No, I totally won that. Dude. That was me. It was the Hulk that won." I love that part. That was great.
Lights asks, do you guys support a Libertarian Party candidate for president, and do you think the Libertarians will become a mainstream party one day? If they're anything like Gary Johnson, no. That's not to say I don't think there have been Libertarian Party candidates that have had useful rhetoric, at least, and who have successfully drawn people towards libertarianism. But do I think it will ever become a mainstream party one day? No, because libertarianism is directly at odds with the goals of the state. And the central bankers and the other people, the deep state actors that have a vested interest in state control will never allow anyone with true libertarian ideals to become president. So I'd have to say, unfortunately, no.
I will say that John McAfee, I don't know if you guys watched his interview with Patrick of Disenthrall, but John McAfee is like probably the best of best of everybody running. If you ask me.
American, I'd go for Vermin Supreme, or someone that legally changes their name to Empty Chair and then never shows up.
You know, I feel like politicians like Ron Paul actually have successfully recruited a very large number of people to libertarianism. So that's not to say that libertarian politicians. What?
I usually say that just Ron Paul shitposted the modern libertarian movement into existence.
Yeah, yeah. So
most of what he did was just complain about the Fed and other stupid policies in Senate, and it got a lot of people into libertarianism. It's great. And then he actually retired. But when you look at the reasons he retired from being a senator because it wasn't serving the causes he cared about. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, okay.
His son is a senator. He was a congressman.
Okay. No, but he resigned from being a congressman because it wasn't serving the cause of making America more free. That's something I can respect, man.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But I think I'm not as I think one problem that people do complain about libertarians is they say a lot of, and people like Lauren Southern who I agree with her on this particular point. I mean, I like some of the stuff she's done. I don't agree with her on everything. But one fair point I think she made in her debate with Larkin Rose was she said a lot of libertarians just sit around in their drum circles reciting theory and not actually trying to make a difference, which I think is in fact a fair criticism of a lot of libertarians. So in that regard, I feel like people like Ron Paul and other libertarian politicians who've been able to spread libertarian ideals from the positions they're in have done a lot of good. But I don't think that shrinking the state by electing politicians who are libertarians is ultimately going to work, because the deep state actors who really are pulling the strings know that libertarianism is incompatible with their end goals. And that's why even though you might elect a libertarian to Congress, even though you might get them, they might be able to rise to a state of prominence that they can influence. The deep state will never allow someone who is truly a libertarian to take the White House.
I mean, the Libertarian Party was a nail in the coffin for me after they nominated Gary Johnson along with Bill Weld. And, of course, Nicholas Sarwark was beyond worse. I'm glad he's finally gone. I'm sure you all heard he's no longer going to be chairman of the LP. But my gosh, he was, he was a warmonger. He actually supported regime change in Venezuela.
Wow.
And he also went full on SJW in his debate with what was it? What was his name again? Dave Smith. There we go.
Okay.
But my gosh, that was terrible.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, once you see a quote unquote libertarian going full woke, run away.
Yeah.
I don't care if they're in a partyarchy or not. Just run away, man. Just run away.
Get woke, go broke.
Yep, that's how it works. And Nicholas Sarwark went woke, and he went broke after resigning. My hope, at least my only hope is that, I have no hope for the LP, getting bigger or whatever. But my only hope for it is that the new chairman is more in line with the Mises caucus that Tom Woods is a part of. So that way the message is probably more accurate. So that way people are not misled into thinking what Gary Johnson believes, right?
Yeah.
Because Gary Johnson's just going out there going, we need to be fiscally conservative and socially inclusive. And I'm going, no.
Boo.
No. We need to be respectful of property rights, self-ownership, non-aggression, and freedom of association. Plain and simple.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you know, the mainstream media has.
Go ahead.
I was going to say the mainstream media has created, you know, I don't think this is actually true of the Libertarian Party at large, but the mainstream media has done a very good job of convincing the general public that the Libertarian Party is just a bunch of pot smokers who sit around, you know, doing nothing. Because if you look, I mean, watch CNN. In any coverage of a Libertarian Party caucus or, you know, a Gary Johnson speech or anything, the cameras will find the one long-haired dude with star-shaped sunglasses smoking weed, and that is all they will show.
Oh, I just remembered something. Remember that one guy who stripped down to a thong at the LP convention?
Yeah.
It turns out that guy is an Ancom. He's a Marxist.
Oh, big surprise.
Yeah. So, okay, yeah. I mean, if we got those guys running around in the two big parties and now the LP, okay, what are you trying to do? Create the three party duopoly now? I mean, this is the end goal of the LP. I'm sorry, but if that's what you're trying to do, no. That's not how it works. And besides, libertarianism was not originally intended to be a party anyway. It was supposed to be a movement, your own philosophy, right?
Right.
That's basically how I saw it historically through libertarianism. It didn't start off as a political party. You know, it started off as, you know, just a movement outside, or basically a movement that is skeptical of the state. Or more skeptical of the state, that is.
And I'm actually going to bring up something that was discussed in the patrons group Twitter chat earlier this week. So I have a Twitter chat that's for all my patrons, and one of my patrons mentioned that he feels a little disillusioned by the lack of unity in the Ancap community. And I told him that I thought it was a fair concern, but I think the reason I think he's feeling that is because the Ancap community, or the libertarian community, really isn't anything more than a group of people that agree in libertarian theories of property rights and ethics. But that has to do with the non-aggression principle. What you believe, you believe there are certain things that are wrong to do, primarily violating someone else's property rights. But a community, a group, a team, it can't really be identified by what it doesn't do. It has to be identified by what it does positively do. So there can be a lot of different people that agree that the non-aggression principle is sound, but nonetheless have really nothing else in common. And those people won't necessarily become great friends or hang out all the time, because you can't have a group of people that define themselves by what they agree you should not do. The My 2 Cents community, obviously, if you're a part of my community, I'm guessing you're a libertarian. But I mean, we talk about a lot of other stuff on this channel, and I'm guessing even if you don't agree with me on everything, you probably agree with me on at least one or two of those other non-libertarian issues, because that's what really brings the community together. It's not our acceptance of the non-aggression principle. There are a lot of people that could accept the non-aggression principle, but not necessarily have anything else in common. At least that's my take on it. If anyone else disagrees, they're absolutely free to voice their disagreement. But
I don't disagree. But one tip I would give everyone: do not watch CNN and do not watch Fox News, especially not Fox News Network when they call the AOC an Ancap.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I actually I did a response video to that.
I saw that. It was good.
Yeah, I had nothing else to say but movie scenes, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, I do want to mention, there was a government shutdown. I don't know how long ago, but a group of libertarians during that government shutdown actually went out and cleaned up the environment.
Oh yeah.
So, there's something positive there.
Yes, Tinseltown Queen. They called Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez an anarcho-capitalist. oh God, the stupidity. It's enough to actually cause brain loss in viewers. Brain functionality loss in viewers. Oh,
they do
God.
realize she's like Bernie Sanders' biggest supporter.
Yeah. She's
yeah, because she wants to, supposed or allegedly, I have to say allegedly because she's lying on what she wants to do. Because she allegedly wants to abolish ICE, she voted to fund it. She wants to end funding for the Department of Homeland Security. She also voted to fund that. That means she wants to scrap law, and she wants to bring about anarchy. It's an anarcho-libertarian point of view. This idiot said. I mean, how? How?
Since when have open borders been the only Ancap thing? I mean, when has that been the only anarcho-capitalist issue? Is opening the borders? When?
What frustrates me about Fox News' coverage of open borders is that they'll say, okay, the radical left wants open borders. Libertarians also want open borders. Therefore, libertarians are pretty much just radical leftists. Have you stopped to consider why the radical left wants open borders and why libertarians want open borders? The reasoning could not be any different.
So we don't really want open borders, though. We want private borders.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the case that I made in episode 35 of my show. The actual libertarian position on borders is you have the difference here is public borders versus private borders. Okay, if you're trying to frame it as open borders versus closed borders, that's misleading, right? Because that's basically two wings of the same part of the state. You need to get off of the birds of prey and off of these two wings that has wrapped you up. Okay. And you need to run away for your life and be free. I'm sure you're getting the picture that I'm painting here, right?
Yes, yeah. But what people like AOC want is not open borders, strictly speaking. What they want is state-sponsored immigration. They want the government to promise welfare benefits, free health care, free everything to anybody who crosses our border and comes to live here. Just vote for us. They are trying to create a demographic shift that will basically ensure Democrats get elected for the foreseeable future. That is not just opening the border. That is actually opening the border and then directly incentivizing, paying people effectively to come into the country.
Yeah, and that's why I think libertarians who advocate open borders, they're basically just muddling down the libertarian message, so to speak. And they're trying to appeal to status. And here's the point of libertarianism: stop speaking the language of status and move them towards saying, how do I approach this without the use of the state? That was my thinking when I was the entire time that I've been a libertarian, both an anarchist and minarchist. How do I approach this without the use of the state? That was a tricky thing for me on immigration until I finally figured out, oh, wait, let them, privatize it. Let the market decide who can and cannot come in. Individuals would be deciding, not the state.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because if the state was deciding who can and cannot come in, chances are, whether it's closed borders or open borders, or quote unquote on both of them, they're basically going to let the bad guys come in, no matter.
Well, we're talking about the same U.S. government that literally led Operation Fast and Furious on the drug cartels in Mexico. So I mean,
yes, there you go. That's my point. Yeah, that's my point. Yeah, there you go.
All right, getting back to Twitter here. We think we pretty much beat that one into the ground.
Well, just real quick, just since maybe we can discuss the my interview with Brian Kaplan another time. Like once you've watched the whole thing.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So, of course.
So, first 20 minutes, there was a lot more covered after that. So
that I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the trends for me have now changed in the last few minutes. The trends are now hashtag HATM, still hashtag our President Bernie, hashtag COVID idiot, COVIDiot, COVIDiot, and hashtag Dark Phoenix.
The X-Men
The X-Men
installment?
one?
Well, hang on, let me click on that. Dark Phoenix is trending, so let me just say that the movie is garbage. Logan is the true finale. Dark Phoenix movie sucks. They rush the story that takes like 10 years to develop for the sake of dollars. When you see Dark Phoenix is trending because everyone is roasting the hell out of an awful film. Dark Phoenix sucked, but this scene didn't. Oh yeah, it sounds like basically for one reason or another, everyone is roasting the Dark Phoenix film.
I have to say I'm really disappointed that we're not going to get like a continuation from Logan.
Well,
we might
get an X-23 movie.
Yeah, well, the director says he still hopes to make one, but after Disney's acquisition of Fox, that seemed to have been flushed down the toilet.
Yeah, same with Deadpool 3, which I'm really, really angry about.
Yeah, I mean, come on. For crying out loud, stop ruining everything, Disney, please.
I will say I liked Logan. I thought it was a fitting finale to the X-Men series.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a masterpiece. It was an absolute masterpiece. My God. I love that movie so much. It was so great. And I haven't liked an X-Men movie since Days of Futures Past, which I know that's not that long ago. But Logan was an absolute perfect way to end the Wolverine series and the X-Men series. God, I'm sorry. It's just that great.
What is the girl's name? X-23?
Well, X-23 or Laura, which is basically a female clone of Logan, but she's kind of different enough to be his daughter. Mm-hmm. So we might get a movie about her. I don't know. I do want to say this, though. If Apple does buy out Disney, though, it'll buy out the rest of those. It'll buy out the MCU, and we might it might greenlight another Logan movie, and it might greenlight another Deadpool movie. So there's good news on that end, hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Now on that topic, I have Hulu, and every now and then when I'm watching a show on Hulu, I do see an advertisement for one of those Apple TV shows. All of them look horrendous. Does anyone know anything about, like, is there any decent Apple TV programs, or are they all awful?
I would say they're awful.
Apple TV.
I'd say that they're awful, honestly.
Okay. Like Reese Witherspoon is in one of them. That's the biggest name I saw that was in one of those shows.
Run.
I did
like. Although I'm hoping. Okay, so you do have Hulu, right? You do have Hulu?
Yes.
You don't watch The Handmaid's Tale, do you?
I do not.
Okay, good.
Why do you ask?
Yeah,
you a fan of that, or?
No. It's just I know it's on Hulu. I just was wondering if you were like a secret fan of that show. It is terrible. I mean, I don't know. The first season kind of had some promise, but it went downhill from there, and it's god awful. It's just terrible.
Okay, yeah. It never interested me. I don't know anything about it, but
okay.
I don't stream, so I'm not interested in any of the shows. Pretty much any show that's being streamed online.
JC Armitage asks, have you seen the new Pokemon being introduced in Sword and Shield? I have seen all those previews. I am quite excited for the expansion pass. Again, I just need to get my schedule to normalize, and hopefully I'll have time for streaming some more.
Okay, I have a question. Is anyone here going to get Cyberpunk 2077?
I do not currently have any plans to.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
I was just wondering because there is apparently going to be a multiplayer thing in there, and I was just wondering if anyone wanted to join up and start a party in that game at all. Because I still owe a gaming stream to Pipsqueak. I know he mentioned it last time,
and we still haven't gotten around to it. But the game he wanted to play, I want to get us to all do on one of these streams.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good fun. I don't know. I might get 2077. Depends.
I don't know. I did a video on Cyberpunk 2077, but it was only to express how it was not actually anarcho-capitalist, because I heard a lot of people saying that it was an accurate representation of an anarcho-capitalist environment, and I kind of bought into that for a while, but I kind of got my eyes on straight, and that was what that whole video was about, was just kind of how it wasn't. But that was not a rebukal of the game. I still want to play it. I am going to play the hell out of it. And I still love that series. So I just wanted to clear that up.
Other than that, I have no idea what this HATM trending thing is, but
Must be an ad.
looks like it has something to do with COVID-19. Also note how these pandemic movies often center the scientists as heroes and patients and populations are seen as the problems to be solved, versus our very real epidemic today where we are relying on patients and people to flatten the curve. Hashtag HATM. All right, I still don't get it, but a lot of people seem to. Oh,
That's weird.
So here, historians at the movies.
Oh, God.
I guess people are tweeting about movies that are about pandemics.
Huh. No, because there was a girl that I watched. She does like retro clothing hauls and whatnot, and she actually watched The Mummy, like the 2000, not the 2000 and the 2014 The Mummy, but like the 1997 Mummy. She watched
not the one with Tom Cruise, the one with
the one
what's
with
his name?
Brendan
Fraser.
Mm-hmm.
Brendan Fraser, yes. And she watched that with an Egyptologist, and that one was actually kind of a fun watch. That was kind of a fun watch to see, kind of like the Egyptologist perception on the movie itself, and kind of what the movie did get wrong, and what it also got right. So I mean, that was kind of entertaining, but I mean, I can see how that would get cringy really fast.
I actually liked that original. I did not see the one with Tom Cruise. I liked the Mummy and the Mummy too.
Yes. The Brendan Fraser ones were great, honest to God. I still have them.
They were going to make a fourth one, but unfortunately they canceled it.
Yeah, what? Oh, man.
That was really disappointing.
Yeah.
I prefer the third one to the ones that came before, mainly because I don't like the fact that, like, in the story, the whole plot of, like, the whole thing that kicked it off, like, the backstory is we conducted this ritual that gave this evil dude tremendous power. It's like, that's such a stupid thing to do. In The Mummy 3, the Mummy, like, the guy who then became the Mummy already had power before becoming the Mummy. That makes a lot more sense to me.
The Dragon Emperor, you mean China, the Chinese one?
Yeah, the Dragon Emperor, yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I will say...
already before he became the Mummy, like... Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I will say the one thing I think what's totally fair, the whole thing with Imhotep, at the beginning of the movie, it tells the story. He's having an affair with the pharaoh's favorite concubine or whatever. They kill the pharaoh to take the power, so the pharaoh's bodyguards loyal to the pharaoh take him down. But then they have no other choice but to perform this ritual on him that if he's ever resurrected, he'll have these incredible powers. It's like, you're right. Why didn't they just kill him? Well, like it says, they have no other choice but to do this ritual on him. So that if he ever comes back to life, he'll be super powerful and super evil. So for the next centuries, your descendants guard the tomb so that he's never resurrected. Why? Why not just slit his throat and let it be over with?
I think it was more to spite him. I think it was more to spite him than anything. It was like the ritual. Like if you sinned bad enough against the pharaohs, that you would be struck down with this most horrible and cursed way of being mummified. And it was really more of a way to spite him. But like, that was kind of the counter. That was kind of the counter to it, is that if he was ever resurrected, then he would have the advantage of becoming a walking plague on the earth. And really, the way they resurrected him is it was more of an accident than anything. When what's her name? I forget her name, but when what's her name reads the Book of the Dead, and she accidentally reads the incantation to resurrect him, it was really more of an accident than anything. So I mean, I don't know. I guess it kind of does make sense, but you're right. I mean, it's like, why not just, I mean, if he's going to have the upside, if anyone does resurrect him, why not just cut his throat and be freaking done with it? I mean,
exactly. I mean, it was still an entertaining movie. I loved it, but you're right. That is like a major hole in the plot.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Neil Stone asks, have any of you seen the new Star Trek? Yeah, I saw the first one and I saw Into Darkness, but that was it.
I'm gonna get flack for saying this, but I did. I saw all three of them. Into Darkness was not only my favorite; it was really the only one I liked. And I know that a lot of people hated the ending to that movie, but I have a soft spot for it mainly because of the villain. The villain being, Khan. He was one of my favorite Star Trek villains ever, and I really liked the fact that they chose Benedict Cumberbatch to portray him. So I actually do have a spot for Into Darkness, honestly.
Okay, and I liked that Leonard Nimoy played old Spock in both those films.
Yes, that was incredible.
Mm-hmm. The one scene where young Spock calls old Spock for help was pretty. I thought that was well done. But
have you guys seen Star Trek Picard, which is basically a continuation of from the Star Trek The Next Generation?
I have not watched it, but I've seen some of the previews, so I know what you're talking about. Yep. Patrick Stewart comes back as Picard.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy about that because they were going to do a sequel to Star Trek Nemesis, and unfortunately they canceled it. So I guess this is better. This is way better than another 2-hour movie, so to speak.
Honestly, I heard they were going to bring back the Voyager crew, and they've already brought back 7 of 9 for an episode. But I'm really hoping to see more of the Voyager crew, and that was that for me was kind of a huge bummer in Star Trek Nemesis, was not seeing the Voyager instead of like the 2 Romulan ships that came in to help at the very end. I wanted it to be the Voyager in that movie. I wanted to actually be the Voyager with like Chakotay and everyone else that came back in. But yeah, I mean, I'm really thrilled about some of what's in Picard, but there are some problems with the plot that I do have. It does seem to be pandering. It does seem to be pandering to kind of like the whole refugee crisis that's going on in the Middle East right now. And I mean, there's just parts of it that don't make sense. But I've got to say, when 7 of 9 came back in, and especially her plot and the way she is, that was incredible. I loved her re-entry into that, and I thought she was incredible.
All right, now here's a question for all the Trekkies out there. Who has watched The Orville?
Yes, I have both seasons on. I have both seasons on my phone. So, yes.
Okay, because that's a show I've been watching on Hulu. Good for a laugh if you're a Star Trek fan.
Mm-hmm. Although I will say this about The Orville, they make too many modern references, and they make too many like funny references to things that were in the late 90s and the 2000s. And that does kind of get grating. It'd be kind of like us, like all 4 of us, making a bunch of references to like books and media and songs from the 1600s all the time, instead of like references to what's going on currently, or references to like maybe what was going on back in like the 20th century or the 1900s. It just that does kind of get old. But I mean, overall, it's a good series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, meme references don't tend to age well.
No, they don't.
What I loved most about The Orville was the one episode where they go to a planet where they have, like, the planet has instituted a strict democracy, and there's basically like a nationwide Twitter feed that every time somebody does something, you post it on this feed, and if a lot of people like it, you become a national hero, and if 1 million people dislike it, then you become a criminal, like regardless of what you did. And it basically just shows the absurdity of Twitter mobs.
Oh my God!
So a literal trial by Twitter.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my god. I was going to reference that in my Ancom video.
But basically, like, the episode begins. So the episode begins with this guy getting executed, and I guess it turns out he was on a bus and there was a pregnant woman standing. He was too busy reading, so he didn't notice her. And a picture of him sitting while the pregnant woman was standing got posted. 10 million people disliked it, and because he got 10 million dislikes, that makes it a execution. It makes it a capital crime, and he gets executed.
Oh, I was gonna reference that in my Ancom video, the one that you mirrored. I was gonna reference that.
Okay.
Forgot. I might still make a video that that kind of correlates that to anarcho-communism, because honestly, that right there was one of the most anarcho-communist concepts I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They pretty much nailed anarcho-communism in that episode of the Orville. Oh. Damn it.
All right. Well, we are at the hour mark. So if anybody's got anything else, post it in the chat quick. Otherwise, we'll probably wrap this up.
I do want to mention real quick that when I have Patrick Friedman on my show, I'm going to ask him about Star Trek, because I know he's a huge fan of it.
Oh, please. Yes.
Please do.
Yeah, just like if I have Eric July on, I'll ask him about comics.
Of course.
Nice.
Are you drinking something, Night Shift?
No, I'm in a hot tub right now. There's water training.
Sorry, I asked.
This quarantine is not going to stop me from hot tubbing, okay?
Here, Lights has a great comment for you, Pipsqueak. I have to thank Pipsqueak for labeling it as private borders. It really changed my perspective on borders. I was always against open borders, and I thought libertarianism as open borders, but the private borders really made me think about it. Well, shout out to you, Pipsqueak. Good for you.
I've been doing it too. When people say I'm not sure about open borders, I tell them, no, it's not libertarian. Watch this episode of my show where I explain why that is the case.
Forced association is just as bad as forced disassociation.
Yeah, that's what Hoplu and I were talking about in the DMs on Discord.
Yeah, well, if you go on
all right.
5 minutes, I spotted a couple of people talking about cryptocurrency and tracking. The main thing to take away with that is, if I have wallet A and say my 2 cents has wallet B, and the cryptocurrency we're using has a public ledger, if both of us make our cryptocurrency wallets public for donations and something, and you look on the public ledger and see that your wallet A has transferred X amount to wallet B, you then know that I've transferred some crypto to my 2 cents. However, if there's a private ledger, even if we make both of our wallets publicly known, there's no way to tell without actually breaking the encryption on the private ledger. Mm-hmm. So when someone says cryptocurrency can be tracked, yeah, but only if you already know enough information that you already know anyway. Like, it's not really anyone breaking encryption and getting into like the details about what you've sent where. It's more that it's like someone who knows what the key is supposed to be. Like, if they already have the key, that's not really cracking, is it? It's like saying you hacked into someone's Facebook because they left it logged in. That's not hacking.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Good way to put it. And I guess on that note, we are going to go ahead and cut off the stream. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Stay safe in these dark times. I hate saying that because the coronavirus is the least of our worries right now. But as always, live strong, be free, whatever else. So thanks everybody for being here. And that is my 2 cents. Take it for what it's worth.